Jenny Riddell-Carpenter.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. May I start by putting on record my strong support for this bill. But I want to focus some of my attention in my contribution today on two specific aspects of the bill, predominantly nature recovery and electricity infrastructure. Net zero and nature are two sides of the same coin, and it would be a coin with no value if it was one without the other. The proposed environmental delivery plans, the EDPs, and the Nature Restoration Fund are positive steps forward that could really transform nature's recovery. In Suffolk, we've already seen how this idea can work well. The Wildlife Trust Biodiversity Net Gain Service has helped to establish new nature reserves, such as Martlesham Wilds on the River Deben. But more can be done to make sure nature and development sit happily alongside each other. Firstly, we must make it explicitly clear that there are to be firm timeframes for the delivery of conservation measures set out in the EDP. Secondly, we must have higher expectations of what we can expect from developers. Nature-rich open spaces, nature highways and solar panels on new builds. These are incredibly simple and easy things to implement, but these are things that will make a world of difference to our communities and to nature. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to turn next to electricity infrastructure aspects of this bill and why this is so important in Suffolk Coastal. Well, we have a total of 4 energy NSIPs planned: Sizewell C, National Grid Ventures and Scottish Power Renewables. It's often said that up to 25% of the UK's energy will either be made or transported through my constituency. We are home to some of the most important biodiverse sites in the UK, with 36 SSSI sites in the constituency, and over 50% of Suffolk Coastal is designated as a natural landscape.
Will the Honourable Lady confirm that point? I thank the Honourable Lady, and she's quite rightly outlining, as I believe are some of the aims of this bill, how the environment should be protected. So therefore, can I ask her how she defends to her constituents that her housing targets under her minister's proposals will be uplifted by 82%?
For his contribution. I wonder if he rolls out that line to every member, because I'm because I'm actually talking about the SSSIs and the energy infrastructure rather than housing in my current moment. So not only are these sites recognised by government that I talk of, the SSSIs, the natural landscapes, but they are critical for this government if we are to deliver on our ambitions to improve biodiversity. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, there's been much talk in the press about NIMBYism of late. But I want to ask the Minister, are people NIMBYs if they ask why it is that nature-rich marshlands and RSPB nature reserves are picked as the best place for National Grid's energy infrastructure to make landfall? Are people NIMBYs if they question why all 4 of these projects are being brought forward in isolation from each other and with no coordination? And are people NIMBYs if they fully support our country's push to net zero, but they ask if they can also do more to protect nature? I think if we listened more to some of these fair and valid questions, we can do more to protect nature and progress with net zero. Madam Deputy Speaker, the previous government totally vacated the space of leadership in our country's energy and biodiversity planning. That void was filled by energy developers who were left to take the lead and left to bring forward proposals that were totally unsuitable in our landscapes, all because it was cheaper than taking projects to brownfield sites. What we've been left with is a series of uncoordinated whack-a-mole projects on the east coast of England. The much welcome land use framework should be extended to create a land and sea use framework to allow for better leadership and coordination of energy infrastructure projects. First and foremost, it is critical that we ensure that energy developers who are working in the same area together work with the communities to plan for the cumulative impact that these vast projects have. The community often has answers to the problems that the developers don't. For instance, farmers have told me that making sure network cables are buried to a minimum of 1.8 metres should be required on arable farming land. This is the minimum legal standard required for arable farmers to continue to use their land for farming. It seems common sense that this is a requirement. Madam Deputy Speaker, I don't have time today to go into all the detail on community benefits to deliver the need for community hosting the infrastructure, but I will say that whilst I welcome the recent announcements from government that mean that communities like mine that may be set to host substations should benefit from it, I think we can be far more ambitious. And I think we can and should expect more from private firms who are profiting so vastly from the great green energy revolution. Madam Deputy Speaker, I urge the government to consider these aspects of the bill. Thank you.